All right, welcome to Module 7. We are in the last 2 weeks of the class. So Module 7 and Module 8 are all about hi-fi prototyping. So, and in fact, Module 7 is exclusively about it. There really isn't anything else that we're doing in this module. And this module is also just very light in terms of content and requirements from you individually or as a group to completely open the week up. So it's kind of like opening up 2 weeks in a normal semester to just work, coordinate with your group, and work on that prototype. So you'll see that as I go through the module that it's just all about this, like where are we in the client project, and that we're building that hi-fi prototype this week, and then we're still working and refining it next week, and we're also working on our presentation next week, and then we are giving those presentations that present your final design to your client in these last couple days here. So you can pick whatever date you want. I'm giving you till the very last day of the semester, which is like the 19th or something. And so whatever day works for you, and it could be before the 17th if you wanted, if you guys were really just doing great and wanted to be done early. It's just that I figure everybody's going to want at least a couple more weeks here on the project. So that's why I'm like the 17th, maybe at the earliest. Because once you pick your time to meet with your client and give your presentation, then you're done because your prototype would be done. You're just going to turn everything into me as well. And then that's the last deliverable for the class. So talk a little bit about hi-fi prototypes. They're basically just more developed and higher fidelity and detail and design than lo-fi. So they're going to have images, they're going to have text, they're going to have color. They're very interactable. There's like hovers and drop-down menus and click-throughs. It looks a lot like a website that's been built. But you're doing it within prototyping software, and you have these separate screens and pages, and it's not like you're actually building it out there on the web. It still exists separate from that and can be tested and changed easily. And so anyways, we have some readings here that just kind of introduce you to high versus lo-fi prototyping. Then I have a video where you watch high fidelity prototype testing of TripAdvisor.com, older video, but still interesting. And then I have a very detailed discussion of what it is you're doing for this class, for your deliverable in the hi-fi prototype. So this is a very I've kind of said it here and there. I mean, I have said it multiple times. Like, what are you working on? I've been reminding you throughout the last couple modules, but this is like a very detailed, this is what you need to do before the end of the class with your group members. This is your final project. And so I have what your hi-fi prototype must include, interaction expectations, what documents and other resources you're using to inform your design. You're not actually submitting anything for that this week. However, you are submitting a journal reflection, which I have a link to in here as well. I'll show you later. And then I want to see your Figma file. I'm just curious, to see where everybody is. So just have a link in your journal entry. And then after that, I go and do, okay, do you need more support around Figma? So we have a couple of videos, Figma for beginners. We have Figma in under 10 minutes, just really accessible options there for you. Also, in case you're more of a reader, there's Figma and hi-fi prototypes, just like a little guide. It's more about these are the different functions, generally speaking, that you would use when you develop a hi-fi prototype in Figma. Then I took those prototypes that I emailed you guys a few days ago and I actually embedded them into the content. And then I added another one here from a different semester. It's just done on Wix instead of Figma. These are Figma files, but it just kind of shows you again the level of fidelity. It's hard for you to know because you don't really know what it was like before, but just sort of shows you that they are working websites is essentially what they look like. With some of the links are not working because you don't need to redo everything by any means. You're just doing the links that you need for your flows and your main data page, your your template page that what you think will work for those 5 linked pages, adjusting some things to the interactive map prototype based on research, but that's more minor. It's more about the design that you come up with for the main data hub page and your 6 user flows for, the 2 personas. So like, how do people find information? You need to have those flows to be developed, and then your template. So there is a Figma Q&A workshop. This is the biggest change I've done to this class actually since we got started. Is I originally thought that these were going to be share your prototype and we'll give you feedback. But I think with just this tight 8-week timeline, things are moving very quickly. And then we had the fall break, Thanksgiving. Everybody shut their brains off for a little bit there, most likely for at least part of that time, if not all of it. And so then everybody's like, oh, and now we have a prototype we need to share on Wednesday. And so I just kind of sensing that potentially what you guys could use instead is like the opportunity to work with Eden on Figma, which is what we were talking about during the client interview. She suggested that she would work with you guys on Figma, that she was your Figma resource, that you should reach out to her. And it doesn't sound like anybody's doing that, but it sounds like people could use it. So I asked her if we could just shift to Figma this week. And so the goal is that she'll do a Figma, sort of like a quick tutorial of basic things that will be helpful for you for like the first 20 minutes or so. And then she'll ask questions if you guys have any. That's tomorrow, Wednesday, December 3rd, and also on Friday, the 5th. And then we're still going to do prototype feedback workshops, but those will be all next week. And by then, I'm hoping you guys will be like, oh, we've got quite a bit to share and get feedback on. And the higher fidelity your prototype is by the time you share it, the better feedback we can give you anyways. So next week will be the 10th and 12th will be those feedback workshops. And I just kind of tell you what to bring and all of that. And then scheduling your client presentation, you do need to be thinking about that now. So before the end of this module, so that's December 10th, you should have emailed Eden and suggested a few days and times between the 17th and the 19th that work for your group to give your presentation through Zoom or Teams, and then allow the client to find out what works on their end too. I am waiting to hear back if we need to involve Connor, who's been listed under your client project module as like your client as well as Eden. And I haven't heard back on that yet. So right now I'm just saying you need to email Eden and she'll loop in Connor. But if I hear back for sure Connor is involved, I will include his information on here and you will email them both. And then this is the only thing you're turning in this week. It's just a journal activity. You do it individually, just reflecting on how the process is going so far. And then I say at the very end that I know I said I was going to get into client presentations this module, but I'm just not going to. I want to keep it just prototyping. And then next week I will give you some example student client presentations and I'll give you an assignment sheet for it and everything else. So all right, that's it for module 7. So good luck with everything. I'll hope to see you in an upcoming either Figma workshop, or Figma Q&A, I guess we'll call it, or a design prototype feedback workshop next week. All right.